Hello, my name is Derek Barnett. I'm a Senior Chief Petty Officer in the U.S. Navy, and I'm honored to be your guest speaker for Veterans Day. Unfortunately, we're not able to have an assembly this year because of the coronavirus pandemic, but I'm so happy that I can talk to you by video. And on Veterans Day itself, I'll actually speak with each one of your classes, so that way you can ask me any questions that you have. Before we officially begin, I have something that I'd like to give to all of you. Now, I'm sure you're all aware of Christa McAuliffe, the teacher your school is named after. She was a remarkable woman who unfortunately lost her life in the Space Shuttle Challenger disaster. I encourage each of you to learn more about her and her story. And given that your mascot is an astronaut, I highly encourage you to look into the stories of others who have gone into space. One of the things that you'll discover is that most astronauts, or at least many of them, have served in the military, meaning that they were veterans. That's what veteran is. When we say veteran, typically that means someone who served in the military. This includes the astronauts of Apollo 11, the mission that took the very first people to land on the moon. Now, I have something in my hands here, and I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see it. It's a very tiny piece of foil. It's very small. But this tiny piece of foil is actually from the Apollo 11 command module, the spaceship that took Michael Collins, Buzz Aldrin, and Neil Armstrong to the moon and brought them back home again safely. It just goes to show that sometimes the smallest of things can have the biggest of impacts. Now, I know it's been a very strange time lately. The past several months we've had to do things differently than we've ever had to do them before. And I have been so impressed with how all of you, students, teachers, and staff, have come together to work through challenges in order to succeed. It's been an amazing job. And so, in the spirit of service, in the spirit of exploration and learning, and in the spirit of coming together in difficult times, I'd like to give this to all of you. Principal Orr.
Derek, thank you very much. We really, truly appreciate this. This is a very special gift that I have a feeling we're probably the only elementary school that has an actual piece of the command center now in our building. So thank you very much. We appreciate you. We appreciate your family and you taking the time to do this for us today.
It's my absolute pleasure, and I hope that it serves as a reminder of the motto of our state, ad astra per aspera, which means to the stars through difficulties. Now, before you go, Principal Orr, I have something for you as well. So as I said at the beginning of the video, I'm a Senior Chief Petty Officer, which means I'm part of a leadership community in the Navy called the Chief's Mess. And the most important job of the Chief's Mess is to take care of our sailors, to take care of our people. And I've been incredibly impressed, just amazed with the wonderful job that Principal Orr has done in taking care of all of you. We have a tradition in the military where we give special coins called challenge coins, especially to those who have done a remarkable job. And so, I would like to give this Greater Midwest Chief Petty Officer Association coin to Principal Orr and say thank you very much.
This is great. Thank you very much. Wow, this is very special. I wasn't expecting that. So I will take this and we will continue to do the best job we can do.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And normally in the assembly, we post the colors, and afterwards we have the national anthem. Again, we're doing things a little differently this year. So we're going to post the colors, and afterwards we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance. And I would like to ask each of you, if you would like to join us, to please stand up and say the pledge right along with us. Thank you. Color guard, attention, post the colors. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Order.
As you can see, I have several toys in front of me. I'm still a pretty big kid at heart. But these toys have everything to do with why I joined the military. You see, when I was a young boy, I was bullied. I was pretty shy and awkward, and bullies would take advantage of that. Sometimes they would use hurtful words, like calling me names, but sometimes they would use hurtful actions like pushing or kicking me. I'm very lucky because I had some very close friends who helped me through that difficult time. But I also had G.I. Joe. The cartoons, comic books, and toys of G.I. Joe taught me a lot about who I wanted to be. I was fascinated by G.I. Joe. It's a team of many different people, different races, different backgrounds, different beliefs, men and women working together, using their different skills to help each other. And their job really was to stand up to bullies. Stand up to bullies and protect and help innocent people. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a helper. My favorite G.I. Joe character is this guy right here. His name's Shipwreck, and he's a sailor. And he's exactly why I chose the Navy. So when I graduated high school, the first thing I did was join the Navy. Now, when I joined the Navy, I really wanted to go to sea, to serve aboard ships. It took over 20 years, and I finally was able to serve aboard the USS Arlington for all of about 9 days. It goes to show that sometimes the things you hope for, the things you plan for, don't quite go the way you expect them to, and that's okay. The important thing is to enjoy the experiences and friends you make along the way. Now, when I joined the Navy, I was taught to be a Russian linguist. The Navy taught me the Russian language so I could translate certain things. Но я забыл очень много, потому что теперь я никогда не учу. Не знаю, как же. After a while, the Navy also taught me to be an analyst, which is where you take different pieces of information, different facts from different sources, and put them together to tell one big story. When I joined, I started as active duty, which is like full-time, and after 6 years, I joined the reserve, which is more like part-time. In 2008, I went back to active duty again, and in 2014, I returned to the reserve. I've traveled all over our country to different states, and I've visited other countries throughout the world, including England and Japan, which were wonderful experiences, but also Iraq and Afghanistan, which were pretty challenging. That said, I wouldn't trade those experiences for anything, even the sad or scary ones. All of the experiences I've had have made me who I am today, and I like who I am. Now today, I have the best job in the Navy. As I said before, I'm part of a leadership group called the Chief's Mess. And the most important job of the Chief's Mess is to take care of people, take care of our sailors. So I really get to be a helper. I help sailors make decisions about their lives, about their careers. I help sailors to set goals and to make plans to reach those goals. And I help sailors when things don't go quite the way that they expect them to. The most rewarding job, to me, the most rewarding thing you can do is to help someone. When you do, you become a very positive part of their lives, and they become a positive part of yours. I know I had a very rough beginning to my life, but I am so thankful for how my life turned out and those who helped me along the way. And if any of you have experienced bullying, please know that you're not alone and that there are so many people willing to help you. Earlier, I said that a veteran is someone who serves in the military. And that's really what it comes down to. A veteran is someone who serves. Serving our community. And there are lots of ways that people serve our community. You have police officers, firefighters, and other first responders who help keep us safe. You have doctors, nurses, and other medical professionals who take such good care of us. You have teachers and school staff who are preparing you all for the future. You have grocers, librarians, construction workers. These are all more than jobs. These are ways that we serve each other in our community to make our community better. And there are so many things that you students can do as well. Different organizations you can join, or different places you can volunteer at. Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, food pantries such as Harvesters, animal shelters such as Wayside Waifs and KC Pet Project. So many ways you can serve. You don't even need to join an organization. One of my family's favorite activities is to take a wagon, some trash bags, and gloves and walk around our neighborhood picking up trash. The trail behind me is actually one of our favorite places to go. We just walk down the trail, pick up trash. Wonderful thing to do. So you might ask, if there are many ways to serve our community, why is there a special day for veterans? And that's a good question. Part of it has to do with the history of Veterans Day, and part of it has to do with the type of service. In the military, we serve our community by serving our country. So the community is the entire country. And that brings some difficulties, some very unique circumstances that we face in the military. Many times we have to leave our families, sometimes for months or even years. And sometimes when we do that, it's to go thousands of miles away to fight in wars. It's true that most of us come back home, but there are some of us who don't. Now there's another special day called Memorial Day, which is to honor those who lost their lives while serving our country. I think it's important to talk about that a little bit today as well. On Veterans Day, when you're walking through your cafeteria, you might notice a special table set. The table will have a white tablecloth, a folded chair, and a plate with salt and a lemon. At some point today, I believe your class is going to read this book, America's White Table. It talks about what that table means and helps to explain why Veterans Day is so special. You might read this book after this video is over, but if you read it during this video, I would ask that your teachers please pause here and resume the video once you're done reading it. Thank you. For those of you who don't know, Veterans Day started as Armistice Day. And armistice is an agreement to stop fighting. And that's what Armistice Day was. It was specifically created to celebrate the end of World War I. World War I, also called the Great War, was a war that took place over 100 years ago. And at the time, it was the most devastating war in the history of the world. Millions of people died. Men, women, and children. The Great War was also said to be the war to end all wars, but that turned out not to be the case. Just over 20 years later, another war started, World War II. And World War II became and remains the most devastating war in the history of the world. Millions more died. Now, behind me is Liberty Memorial. Maybe you visited it before or have driven by it with your family. It was built in the 1920s specifically to honor those who served in World War I. It was later expanded to become the National World War I Museum and Memorial. It tells a fascinating story, and if you haven't visited it before, I highly recommend that you and your family come. It teaches about why World War I happened and what led to World War II. It even talks about some of the challenges that we face today. thank you very much for the opportunity to speak with you all today. And I look forward to our virtual meetings and answering any questions that you have. Before I go, I would encourage each of you to ask other veterans to share their own stories with you. And if you're watching this video with a veteran, I have something I'd like to say to them. It's okay that you watch and listen as well, but this is for them, okay? Ready? Here we go. Hello, fellow veterans. Thank you so very much for taking the time to watch this as well. And I know it can be very difficult to talk about your experiences, especially with your loved ones, but I would ask each of you to do that. Our number is getting smaller. In World War II, approximately 12% of all Americans served in the military. And for those that didn't serve in the military, they frequently served in other ways. Since September 11th, 2001, less than 1/2 of 1% of Americans have served. So again, our number is getting smaller, and while that's okay, this means that many communities are not feeling the same impact of service. And while I'm thankful we have many opportunities to celebrate veterans, such as what we're doing right now, I frequently feel that deeper stories aren't shared. So please, share your stories. It's so important to the development of our young people and how they grow. Thank you. Okay, students, I'm back to you. So you just heard me asking other veterans to share their own stories with you, and it's so important that you listen to them and try to understand. See, some of you are going to grow up and have the same desire that I did to join the military, and you should know what that means. And for those of you that don't grow up and join the military, or if you do, some of you are going to have a desire to become an elected official, someone that we choose to make decisions for us. And some of those decisions are going to be how the military is used, what happens to us. And you should know what that means. And if you don't do either of those things, that's okay. We all have our own paths, but every single one of you will be able to vote, meaning that each of you will be able to choose who our elected leaders are, and they will end up deciding what happens to us, how the military is used. And you should know what that means. Now, I know we talked about some scary things today. War, death, suffering, those aren't pleasant topics. And I know all around us there are scary things that happen, especially if you watch the news. This pandemic itself has kind of been a scary time. So I want to leave you with something that another big influence in my life used to say, Mr. Fred Rogers. This actually came from his mother when he was a boy. And that is, whenever you see something scary in the world, look for the helpers. There are always helpers. Now, far be it from me to improve upon the wisdom of Mr. Rogers or his mother. There's something I would like to add to that. So yes, whenever you see something scary in the world, look for the helpers. And whenever possible, be the helper. Thank you so very much for being with me today. And now, we will retire the colors. Color guard, attention. Retire the colors.